Thanks for tuning in to the Nindie Nation podcast, a weekly show dedicated to games for the Nintendo Switch, brought to you by independent developers. I'm Jeff, joined by Josh.
What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Josh. We're here to walk you through the growing catalog of fantastic indie titles from the games and developers you already know and love to the hidden gems inside of Nintendo's digital gaming paradise. We'll discuss what we're playing, what we think you should be playing, and in our second half, as always, we'll give you a rundown of this week's Nindie sales and next week's new releases. Coming hot off of a Nintendo Direct and our text message conversation before we got started. Hey, anything I need to know from the Direct related to Nindies? Nope.
No. It's about time. I have to say we were getting sort of overburdened here on the show with awesome information.
We were definitely getting we've got plenty to play. There's no drought there.
Right. I think I have games for the next 5 years
No
already.
Well, tell us what you've been playing this week.
Okay, what I've been playing this week is Dust and Elysian Tail. Ooh. And it just came out for the Switch recently, and it's been on other systems, PC. Definitely worth your time to play because it's a superb side-scrolling action RPG with great graphics, a great soundtrack, and it's a lot of fun. And it has Metroidvania tendencies. I advise anybody that's even on the fence to check out some video footage because it's, like I said, it was a highlight when it first released on the Xbox a few years ago and then made its way over to PS4 where I primarily played it, but I'm going to play it again on the Switch because it's a great game.
Oh, really? I didn't know that came out on the Xbox first, because I do remember it kind of sneaking out when it came out on the PlayStation.
Yeah, because I remember really wanting to play it, but you could only play it on Xbox or PC. And I have neither, so.
Yeah, I think when it launched on PlayStation, it might have launched as a PlayStation Plus inclusion, because I know that's how I got it.
That's how, I don't remember it being on PS Plus, but that's sort of cool if you already had it for that. Or I think I bought it first, but then it did come, so everybody was able to get it. That's the thing about waiting. You just should wait for most games just because they come to PS Plus or
whatever. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I think I remember one of our first times talking about doing this podcast. I had mentioned that if I look at my Switch library, I own like half of these games already. I mean, we'll talk about what I've been playing this week, but the game that I've been spending most of my time on, I've had on my Vita for like 2 or 3 years, and I just never played it. But yet I bought it.
And it's just you just update these games as they become available, because you get them for free. So then as long as you have the service, you have them for free. That'd be sort of cool for Nintendo to implement. But we'll have to wait to hear that their online service, what that's all about. So I haven't watched the Direct yet. So
yeah, we got some details, and the only thing I'll say is that like when they kind of were showing off the way the NES games were, I think they announced like 5 more, and it's actually pretty cool because they put like Mighty Bomb Jack or something like that, like really obscure third-party titles that I think probably a lot of people know, but stuff that you don't see from like the NES Classic box they released. And the way they kind of revealed the titles made it look like a lot more were coming or something like that. So we'll see. I mean, maybe we will get some kind of subscription service that would give us Nindies someday.
Yeah, I could totally see it working. But anyways, Dust, we recommend it.
Great game.
And it even has a deep story to it, too. So there's just a lot to love about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I've been playing this game called Full Blast. It's sort of a generic, just vertical shooter. There's not really much to say. This alien menace has decimated Earth, and you're like this one pilot on a mission to rid them of their tyranny. And it just lots of bullets. The neat thing about it is that you do have a health bar, so it is easier than most games in this genre because most of them are ridiculously hard and die in one shot. And this one takes more of a casual approach, so it might be worth checking out if you're not totally into like the hardcore shooters.
I've noticed recently that you talk a lot about the bullet hell shooters. Is that a big? Are you a big fan of that whole category?
Yeah, I've always grown up with these titles just because they're easy to get into and you don't have to devote too much time. It's like something you can play with just like a podcast on or TV show or something. You don't really have to think about it. And they're usually super short. So
do you consider like what was that really old vertical scrolling shooter like Xevious or one of those old like Namco arcade games? Do you consider that the same genre, or is there like a distinct difference between like the vertical scrolling shooter and a bullet hell?
Well, that's more of just a shooter. Bullet hell came more into providence with like Ikaruga.
Yeah.
See, you got it.
That's the only one I know.
Yeah, which that one's neat because you can switch up your paradigm. Like you can make it so you're absorbing certain bullet colors versus being hit by some, which is neat.
Which one would you recommend as like newcomers to the genre on the Switch? Is there a game or two that you think is a good place to start?
Well,
Ikaruga.
See, I type it out. I never say it.
That's a good place for me to put in like a little audio effect or something.
Like don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the penultimate one that any shooter fan should play. And if I mean, it's easy. It's has an easy like mode to it too, because some are just ridiculously hard. Like the older ones that are brought over to the Switch, some of those can just be nightmare inducing. But there's so many on there that you can't really go wrong if that's your genre.
Cool. Anything else you're playing?
Yeah, this game called Doufling's Arcade. Like,
how do you spell that?
It's DOUGH LINGS.
Okay.
Doufling's Arcade. Yeah, it's very strange. Like, this is a game you probably wouldn't give a second look to, but it's actually a pretty neat, where you box blasting type of game, or where the ball comes back and you try to hit it back to get rid of all the blocks and stuff.
Yeah, you mean like blocks up on the top, like breakout kind of thing? Or
yeah.
Paddle at the bottom? Oh.
Yep, like that.
Huh.
But it has different stages you go to, and you get power-ups to power up this Doufling or whoever you control at the bottom, because you're trying to save they're all sick, and you're trying to, the ball's like a medicine tablet in a way that heals them as you hit them. So yeah, it's different, but it's a nice take on the genre.
Is that one? I'm not seeing on that on the store. Is that coming? Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is. That looks cool, man. I might pick that one up. I could be down for a game like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap too. So it will, when you play it, you'll tell it's like a mobile title.
Sure,
but it's fun. So
we won't hate on a game just for being a mobile title.
Right. As long as it's good,
Exactly.
But for now I'm about halfway through it, and there's tons of stages, so there's plenty of content too, and you get power-ups and you level up. Like there's one where he's a Hulk, and there's one where he can like shoot extra balls out to hit the blocks, and different power-ups. So it's a neat little title.
That sounds cool. Let's see. This week, a lot of retreads for me. It's a challenge when you're on a Nindie podcast, but time to catch up on the backlog a little bit. Last week I mentioned Robonauts was on sale for, I think, 88 cents. And so I picked that up. If you're listening to this before, I think, Tuesday, whatever that is, the 20th or the 18th, I think is Tuesday. Pick it up still. It's an arcade game. You're like on a planet, and it's 2D, and you're kind of rotating around a big circle and shooting things that are on the surface coming at you from both sides, but also things that are coming in from out of space. And I think it's really fun for $1. And there's a demo for it that you can try out. I also went back and spent some more time with Bomb Chicken. Had a little bit of time to kill at one point this week and didn't know what to load up. Put that in. I got about another, 10 or 15% through, so I'm probably in the last third of the game now, and it's really fun. It's really hard. I really wish that the challenge was a little more forgiving when you die. I wish you could
have like major difficulty spikes or anything like that.
It's more like, I think the game, let's say the game has 30 levels, something like that. The levels themselves are broken up into like 3 to 5 puzzles each, and it's like a puzzle room. And you can only get hurt or mess up, which, you can blow yourself up if you're standing next to the bomb you drop. So it's easy for both accidental damage as well as, getting caught in the trap or whatever. But you do 2, 3, 4 puzzles, and then you have the last one in the room. And if you die at the last one in the room, you have to start all the way back at the beginning. And there's not that much of a ramping difficulty, so each challenge is tough. And so if you get to like a series of 5 areas and 3 of them are hard and you die, like you could have a whole nother like 20-30 minutes in front of you to get back to where you were. So I wish you could just start from that same room, because there's a clear start and stop between each room of a level. So I wish you could stop there. I think that would solve the problem. But I do think it's a fun game, and I got it on sale for less than $10, and I would recommend it for less than $10 if you're looking for a good puzzle platform little action game. And it's about a chicken that lays bombs for eggs. It's really funny. There's good story where it's very like all of the military is like investigating these chickens that can hatch bombs, and it's like super sci-fi and serious and full of like chicken and Kentucky Fried Chicken puns and things like that. It's funny.
With this chicken that farts bombs.
Yeah, pretty much. And finally, not finally, 2 more. I have been playing the majority of the week. I've been playing Hyper Light Drifter. And so I had mentioned that I put an hour or 2 into it last week, and I've got, I haven't looked recently. I've lost track. I've put a lot of time into it. And I have realized, I've mentioned that Breath of the Wild is my favorite. It's the pinnacle of gaming for me. And I think the reasons why I like Hyper Light Drifter are the same reasons why I like Breath of the Wild. Do you get that at all when I say that?
No, enlighten me.
So I think, and I remember, who was it? I heard someone say, I think it was during like all the Game of the Year review or discussions last year, I heard someone say that what is special about Breath of the Wild is that all of the other open world games give you a map and they give you waypoints and they say go to the waypoints. But Breath of the Wild gives you a map and you find the waypoints. And once you find the waypoint, you're given a reason for it. You seek out things on your own. And so it's like guiding you, but it's not dangling a carrot in front of you. The carrot is the exploration itself. It's, moving around the world, and then you get the reward at the end. And I think Hyper Light Drifter is very much the same. It's hard. There's, there are areas that I might retread that I haven't killed all the enemies in that'll take me out if I'm not paying attention.
It is hard.
Yeah, there was, I did my first like big boss, to put it in Breath of the Wild terms, there's like divine beasts. And I did the first one, and I probably died like 10 times on it, but I never got mad at it. And that's a good sign. Like there was some BS going on in that boss battle, but I overcame it, and it felt really good. So the game, like, it doesn't give you any direction whatsoever. It is really up to you. And I find that I just kind of go through one of the 4 areas of the game. And when I feel like I've found everything that's hidden, I go back to the town and I try to buy a new power up. And then I see if a different quadrant has something else to find. And so far, every time I go back in a quadrant, I think to myself, I was just in here. I'm not going to find anything, but I always do. And I've tried to look at a guide a couple of times for it, just, hey, before I leave this area, is there something I'm missing? And I've found that the game is built that you either play it with a guide open and you're referencing it constantly to the point where you're barely even playing the game, or a guide isn't really going to help you.
And that's the beauty. I think the pacing is magnificent in the game, just from, like you said, how you slowly gain powers and gain enough points to go back to town, and just each area doesn't feel too long. The enemies, like, you will die a lot, but you always learn something, like the dodging mechanic and just the exploration. And Yeah, it's also beautiful to look at. And music is some of the best in indie gaming, so
Yeah, it is.
comes
And
together.
and I'm sure you like it from your Dark Souls experience because it is a game where it's like if you master that dodge, you can get out of just about anything. You know, you master that dash, and especially when you get like the dash attack, it gets really fulfilling. And also, like Breath of the Wild, when you're exploring, you kind of already have all of the tools you need from the beginning. I mean, there might be one or two things that you get that help with traversal, but you know, you're not revisiting areas to access new areas that you couldn't before. You're revisiting them to look for things that the game taught you to look for that you weren't looking for last time. You know, like
Right.
ways to look for different nooks and crannies. Very Super Metroid in that way. When like you get the visor and all of a sudden you can see all this stuff you never saw before.
There's no right or wrong way to go about things. It's
Yeah,
better just not to look at the guide at all.
you are absolutely right. I've pulled one up 3 times now, and every time I'm like, this isn't helping me. And then I just go explore again, and it's fun. And finally, I wanted to touch on that I haven't played The Messenger. And I just thought it was worth mentioning because, you know, I've got some games I'm playing, and I'm working through a backlog, working through Hyperlight Drifter, other stuff. But when I last talked about The Messenger, I said I thought I was right about to get to a really cool part of the game. And I haven't gone back since. And the game's just not really pulling me back in. So I don't know. I want to go back to it and I still plan to, but thought it was worth mentioning because that's kind of a little bit of a review in itself if, you know, it's not pulling me back in.
And you're not the only one. I've heard from quite a few people who say that there's just something about it that's not gripping them and that becomes sort of boring, like archaic in gameplay, which I guess is the point since it's going back to the 8-bit style and then 16-bit. But yeah, it's telling that you're not the only one that's feeling the same way.
Yeah. I wonder if they just made the game too long or something. I don't know.
Possible. The ratings are off the charts still.
Right.
Like
right.
it's
They're
sitting
still
at
really
like an
good.
88 Metacritic, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a game I'd never picked up. I want to. I'll probably get it when it's on sale, but right now it's just not doesn't have my interest.
Yeah. I will certainly report back because I don't think I'm going to let that one fade into oblivion. I think I will go
Yeah.
back and finish it and at least see the 16-bit part of the game because I really expected that to be kind of. I knew it was a story element and I knew that it would be introduced at some point, but
Right.
you know, I've put some good time in the game and I haven't seen it at all yet.
Yeah, interesting.
Great. Well, good stuff on both sides. Josh, let's talk about what's coming out in the eShop next week.
Next week on September 18th, we have the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle. And Jeff, I did not watch Direct, so you can tell me what games are included in that bundle if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, and so this one's kind of indie because some of these games were originally independently developed and then gobbled up by Capcom. I mean, obviously Capcom is a AAA publisher, but these games certainly fill that void. These were all originally released in arcade, and we're actually getting the arcade ports of Final Fight, Armored Warriors, Cyberbots, and very exciting Knights of the Round. And Knights of the Round was ported to the Super Nintendo, but they've never seen an arcade version. It's one of the best Golden Axe style games there are. I mean, full stop, one of the best. I just
You had me
replayed
at
it.
Golden Axe right there.
Dude, it's awesome. It's like one of the first brawler type games that had leveling mechanics in it. And like the whole game's 45 minutes long, but at the end of each level or two, you get to pick defense, speed, or attack for putting a little point in, and it can make a big difference in the game. It's really neat. It's
Oh.
like, wow, they did that back in 93 or whenever that game came out. So cool stuff coming. There's one or two
Interesting.
other games. King of Dragons is another fantasy like fighter. Captain Commando is in it. I think that's all of them, but great classic Capcom games that are not really Nindie, but relevant to people that would like that stuff. And it comes out next week. Do we know how much it's going to cost?
Doesn't have a price.
That's a little concerning. I'm not paying anything more than like 15 or $20 for that. So we'll
Right.
see.
Capcom's been pretty good about pricing, and they've been on fire lately with good releases. So let's hope that continues.
And those bundles that they're putting out go on sale pretty quick too. Like we just had both of those Mega Man Legacy collections half off like a week ago, and those came out at the beginning of the summer. So,
right, they're already on sale. Yep.
Good point.
And next we have Omvorm on September 18th for MB or Megabyte Interactive, and sounds interesting. On that 18th, we also have Sword of the Guardian from Billy Chan Studio.
Do we know anything about this one? I see it's a featured.
It sounds like
game.
an adventure title. That's my guess.
It looks like a Golden Axe style game with a really odd art style.
Never mind, I was way off.
I mean, it's the graphics look good. Something's weird about this. I don't know if you're seeing any of the images. Like, it looks good, but something's kind of odd about the graphics. Like, the characters are standing out a little more than they should or something. I don't know. But that doesn't look that bad. It looks like it could be fun.
Siegecraft Commander comes out on the 19th.
It's an RTS.
This is a strategy. Yeah.
It looks like Red Alert or one of those Command and Conquer games.
Right in the Command and Conquer fold. So,
and Level 77 is the publisher. They also did the Deer God and Morfight. Okay.
Yeah. A Case of Distrust from Serenity Forge. And I know this is an adventure title with puzzle elements. It's pretty cool. It's set in 1924 San Francisco, and you're a private investigator. So that's probably worth checking out. We have Hover.
Have you seen
the 20th. This looks really cool, actually.
Dude, it looks like Jet Set Radio.
Yeah, only you're racing. Like, you actually go off rails, and I don't know if you spray paint. Do you?
I don't know. I mean, it looks like you could. There is definitely graffiti in a couple of these screenshots.
Yeah, it looks really cool, though. That's one I'll keep my eye on, definitely.
Me too. I'm going to put that on the wish list. It's expensive, but we'll see what the reviews look like next week. Maybe we'll get a code.
We have Light Fingers coming on the 20th, and Magic Cat comes out on the 20th. And that's Magi Cat from Toad Productions. Yeah, this should be right down your alley. Since you and cats are like, that's your spirit animal right there.
My cat's at my hot dog party.
Yeah, you know it. It's a retro experience that says it has pixel art, 63 levels, unique boss battles, 7 different worlds, world map to explore. So it actually sounds like your Cat Quest like next type of game there.
Huh.
Maybe.
You had me at Cat Quest.
Yeah. Next we have Reigns, Kings and Queens from Devolver Digital. And
we got another Devolver coming out.
Yeah, this game, I've heard things about it. RPG strategy. It looks sort of cool. I didn't know that came out.
Yeah, it's not what I would have expected looking at the thumbnail. This is interesting. I don't really know what it is looking at it. It looks almost like one of those first-person dungeon crawler games, but why do you pick between 2 different deer when you start the game?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Fair enough.
Next, we have Retimed coming on the 20th from Stray Fawn Team Maniacs. And then we have The Card, Poker, Texas Hold'em, Blackjack, and Page 1.
I wonder if that's got RPG elements.
I wonder.
As a roguelike. You lose your poker game, you can start over, but you've got a new ability.
Yes, you can cheat extra well.
Right.
The Gardens Between. I think this is going to be one of those highlights, and it comes up on the 20th. This is one they highlighted at the Indie Direct, and it looks pretty cool because it has puzzle mechanics, and it's like on a diorama, sort of like you rotate the environments around.
Yeah, and it's the one where, like, as you're walking through, it's telling the story of people that came before them or something like that. I got a vibe very much like what was that game, the walking simulator on PlayStation, where you're talking to all the spirits.
Everybody's gone to the Rapture.
That's the one. I kind of felt like it's playing off of that a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, that looks cool. That's definitely a highlight.
It's been previewing really well. I
Oh,
because people
good.
saw it, I think at PAX, and I saw good impressions about it. So yeah, it's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Awesome. And then you've heard of this title before. Velocity 2X comes out on the 20th from Curve Digital, and this is a shooter's dream come true. So if you haven't played on the PSP or PS Vita or PS4, this is it.
Yeah, don't sleep on Velocity 2X. It's like half vertical scrolling shooter and half almost like a side scrolling Metroid type game. Two kind of games in one. Really cool soundtrack that's really fun. And remember, the developer said recently that they've been trying to get a sequel greenlit for a year now, and they, in so many words, they basically said if the game sells on Switch, then they're going to keep making more. And if it doesn't sell on Switch, that the franchise might be, on hiatus while they work on something else. So
Yes.
if you're
So please
curious
buy it.
about it, buy it, because we should definitely get more games from them. They're a good indie developer
It's a
that's
it's
been
a
around
quality
for a while.
title. We can vouch for this game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then finally, My Brother Rabbit from Artifex Mundi comes out on the 21st.
I also saw on the 18th we're getting Undertale.
Oh, okay. Why isn't that? That's a pretty big release. That would actually be a highlight too.
Yeah, Undertale's definitely a big one, and that's a game like I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos about it, and they always get to a point where people are about to drop a big spoiler, and I skip it. So I don't really know why this game is so great. I know that it's an RPG. It's a very retro, weird art style,
Like
and that you have the ability to not fight. Have you played this? Have you played Undertale?
I have it on PS4, but I didn't get that far because other stuff came up. But the funny thing is, it doesn't look interesting at all. But everybody talks about how great of a revolutionary title it is. So
Yeah, right?
it doesn't make sense to me. Like it doesn't look appealing at all.
And I've heard multiple people say that the game is fun on your first play, but that it almost requires 2 or 3 playthroughs. I don't know. We're going to need to get a code for this. I'll play it if I'm given a code. Maybe I should reach out to 8.4 and see if
Yeah,
I can get one.
reach out, man.
I'll ask 8.4 if they want to provide me a code, and they'll just send me a link to the
They'll just-
95 Metacritic that they've got and be like, what do you want to know?
It'd be like laugh out loud, laugh out loud. Who is this Nindie nation that you speak of?
Right, right. And why haven't they already played Undertale? But that one definitely that one's going to be at the top of the eShop charts next week.
Yeah, without a doubt. So there you go. Our picks are Undertale, The Gardens Between, and Velocity 2X. You can't go wrong there.
Coming up in the eShop sales right now. Just as we saw a little bit of a dip with some of the new releases and news coming out, it's a little slow on the eShop this week. But there's a couple of good games out there worth sharing. Josh, what was the first one you saw that is worth recommending?
Bum 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 bum. Bum. Yonder, the Cloud Catcher Chronicles is worth highlighting because it's basically like a 3D Zelda without the fighting mechanics. Like you do a lot of mining and gathering resources for people, and it's fun in that regard.
It's cool. It's expensive though. I mean, it's $24, which is 20%
On sale.
off. Is it?
Okay.
Is it worth $24?
I would say so. Yeah, it's a beautiful world. And it keeps you busy for a while. Like you could easily put over 30 hours into it. Just depends on how long that how it appeals to you with like town building and resource managing, stuff like that. So in a way, it sort of has that Harvest Moonlight quality that you might get some fun out of.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I recommend it.
And I saw Road to Valhalla is $12 this week, and Nindie Nation strongly recommended that title a few weeks ago. you seem to think that it had lots of good replay value, tons of content in it, and definitely sits in a little niche kind of left open by what, like Marble Madness in a way, or Monkey Ball, kind of like that.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a lot more fun because the mechanics are deeper, and yeah, it has humorous moments too, like what you'd find in Portal, like with the narrator like messing with you and stuff you shouldn't do, but you do it anyway. So there's a lot more to it than. Yeah, exactly. It's always a lie. Then we have Tokitori and Tokitori 2 are on sale. And I actually, if you had to choose between one to get, I would go the original Tokitori just because I feel like it's the most precise and it stays true to the puzzle formula. The second one sort of veers off into this nonsense story, and it's not just the puzzle mechanics. And this first one is all just based on clever puzzles, and it has a cute art style. It's a lot of fun.
It looks really good.
It is.
Are you like a tiny creature? Because it looks like there's like big blades of grass everywhere. It seems like you're supposed to be like a little tiny animal or bug, or I don't know, what is that little egg-shaped yellow guy? Is he a chicken?
Chicken, yeah, little chicken. See, you see a common theme here with
Why
chickens.
are there so many chickens and Nindies right now?
You have to talk to Kentucky Robo Chicken about that.
Or Bomb Chicken. Or Tokitori Chicken. But so FYI, $2.74 for the original Tokitori. And this game has an awesome Metacritic. I forget what it is. I'm going to look. 82% Metacritic.
Yeah, it has some good ratings.
Yeah. So anyways, Tokitori is well reviewed, and that review for less than $3, can't go wrong there.
Yep.
Also want to throw out a reminder that all of Atui's games are half off right now. So you've got Soccer Slammers and Zeo Drifter and Mutant Muds Collection. Most of those games are either $3 or $5, and then I think the Mutant Muds Collection might be $7.50. If any of those games are of interest to you, half off is probably the best you're ever gonna get.
Yeah,
it'll really help out a very long time Nintendo focused developer that's brought a lot of great games out to Nintendo indie platforms.
No doubt. And that's about the biggest highlights I think I have, unless there's some others you want to hit on there.
I think that's the most of it. I mean, I also saw that Lightfall is on sale, 35% off for $9.74.
If you need Ori and the Blind Forest fix, this is probably the closest you'll get on the Switch.
And this one, it's pretty fast, isn't it? I don't ever remember if Ori got fast or not.
Yeah, it's faster than Ori.
Okay.
And it's easier, but it's still a lot of fun.
And the one that I've got on my wish list that I might end up buying this week is Tumbleseed, because you praised it a lot when we were talking about our favorite Nindies, and it's $4.94, which is 67% off. Is that game motion controlled when you're moving the thing, or do you use the sticks?
No, you use the sticks mainly. Okay. There might be maybe they patched in, because I haven't played it in a while. It's because it came out. It was one of the first Nindie titles to come out. But
yeah, it was.
Yeah, it'd be sort of cool if you could tilt the screen back and forth. But it's very tough, hard as nails, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a totally different concept from most indie games. And I'm always for those that experiment around. So
well, that's lots of good stuff on sale, lots of good stuff coming out soon. And another piece of news that might be relevant for Nindies, in tandem with the Nintendo Switch Online service, announced today, or I guess detailed today in the Direct, Nintendo also said that they are going to release a 2-pack of the NES Classic controllers. Now, these are a little different than what came with that Classic console, but for $60, you get 2 controllers, which I think is a little steep, but it actually might come with a year of the online service as well. So it would be worth it for that. But
yeah.
Anyways, you get the 2 controllers. They're NES controllers that are wireless, and then they have the little Switch Joy-Con dock thing on the top. So please do yourself a favor. If you're in front of a computer, look up an image of what the Switch looks like with 2 NES controllers attached to the sides of it because it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't know what they were really thinking with that controller, but hey, I guess that's a one way to charge it.
Right. Guess you got to do it somehow. We're not going to get out AAAs for this or anything.
Right.
So, good. Well, oh, that's right. Last week, just as we gave away a copy of Fall of Light to a lucky listener who interacted with our call for, kind of smart-ass answers of what the name of this game is all about. Loved the responses and put out there a similar call for what you thought Shikondo was all about, without having played the game. And so we have a code that we're going to give away for that. Josh, you want to share the winner's entry?
Yes, and this is more of a pun than anything, but we thought it was pretty clever. This is from Barf Hot-Blooded Tough Turkey at Trash Turkey. So, yeah, nice name.
Don't put that trash turkey in the same room as the bomb chicken.
His response was low maintenance, quiet home.
And that one took me a second, but then I realized,
it's really clever.
Condo. Got it. So if you haven't, I don't know that we have a free code to give away for next week yet, but so that you're aware, if you're not noticing the trend, puns get extra points.
Right.
Just keep
and
that
if
in
it's
mind.
Clever, like we have to really think about it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. But so if we get another code for this week, Trash Turkey, we will certainly reach out, provide the code. We look forward to any feedback about the game. We'd love to hear your thoughts, maybe share them on the air. If we've got a little bit of a contest winner review or impressions, that would be great. Otherwise, on social media, you can find me at Nindie Jeff. You can find Josh at _the_Brant. And of course, you can find Nindie Nation at Nindie Nation. You can also find us with that username at YouTube and on Facebook. Please check out the Facebook group that we've created. It is facebook.com/Nindie Nation. And we've got some good conversations going on there, good community, and always putting out calls for any questions that we may ask for feedback. Or if we have a contest, you'll see it there just as well as on Twitter, as well as any new podcasts that go live, or when we publish them on YouTube, you can find them there as well. In addition, we are part of the Nintendo Village Network. Josh, can you tell them about that?
Yes, that's who we are hosted by, and it's a great website that deals with reviews, previews, and features a lot of great shows that you should check out. Retro-inspired podcasts that are really fun to listen to at any point. So yeah, go over there, like and subscribe to Twitter. They have a YouTube account. They have some pretty in-depth, very high quality videos that you can check out as well. So yeah,
and on the heels of a Nintendo Direct, good time to go see their impressions. We just had that one today. Go learn about Animal Crossing and Luigi's Mansion 3 and all that good stuff by checking out. You can find them on Twitter at Village Nintendo. And you'll have all the links you need there to get access to their content. Would love more folks that are listening to Nindie Nation to check out the rest of Nintendo Village and hear some of their great content as well.
Yes.
Phew. Got a good week. Got a little bit of Nindie downtime right now. I don't know if it's a calm before the storm, but what are you going to be playing for next week, Josh? Anything you can talk about? Anything you're digging out from your backlog?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy with some high-profile releases, so I'm looking to I'll be definitely playing some more Nindies next week, but yeah, I don't know what yet, so you'll have to stay tuned in to hear my thoughts.
If I have a perfect week, I will be able to come back next week and say, I played more Messenger, I played more Hyper Light Drifter, maybe finished it, and hopefully can clear some way for whatever 20 Nindies get announced next week.
It's never ending.
Never ending Nindies.
Yes.
Anyways, I'm Jeff. That's Josh. We're Nindie Nation. Thanks for listening this week, and we can't wait to talk to you about what's keeping our Joy-Con synced next week.
and you can edit that out.